Good morning, friends. Welcome once again. Today I'm here with another poem of class 12th, an elementary school classroom in Slum. It's written by Stephen Spender, who is an English writer. That means he's from Britain, or we can say England. So he writes in English, and he, in this very poem, has highlighted the problems or the hardships faced by those people or usually those kids who are there in the slum area. And this chapter, this poem, depicts a classroom which is there in the slum area and where children of that slum area just takes education. So the poem starts, the poem resonates the poet's political views and brings forth the difficulties faced by kids in slum areas. So what kind of political views does this poet have? This chapter gives that significance. Right now, as we are aware that there are politicians who work for the society, who work for the country, but still there are those politicians who are just corrupt and who just work for their own benefits. That's why this poem, in this very poem, the writer, he says that we need those kind of people who will just work for these little kids, who will work for these downtrodden people. So the poem was written to highlight the social injustice prevailing in the world. So what social injustices there? Some are very rich people, some belong to the aristocratic class, some are very poor, some are middle class. So this kind of injustice which is there, which is not the fault of these little kids, this prevailing injustice is to be highlighted and just changed so that these kids may get a beneficial environment, an environment which will benefit them for their education. So the poet Stephen Spender gives a vivid description of a school classroom in a slum and the children in the class. So over here, when you go through the first stanza, you will see that how Stephen has given the description, the beautiful description of this slum school and the children over there. The faces of children are dull and gloomy because they belong to the poverty, they have seen hardships, they have seen problems in their life. In so tender age, they are exposed to great problems of not having food, they are malnutrition. So their faces are dull, their faces are gloomy, they are full of gloom, they are not happy at all. The poet deals with social injustice and classroom inequalities. So social injustice, as I told you, but classroom inequalities, like there are people who study in ACs, or we can say children who belong to the aristocratic class. They study in ACs and they study in hi-fi classrooms with smart boards and with everything, every possible technology. But though there are kids as well who study in these areas where they don't have even chalk or duster or pen to write down, or we can say they don't have copies, they don't have books. So this is the problem which is prevailing in the world right now. He says that the world of rich and civilized has nothing to do with the world of narrow lanes and crumpled holes. As I told you, the aristocratic people, they don't have to do anything. They don't give a damn to anything about these people, whether they are doing... I'm not sure whether Ambani has done something for education or something, but isn't it possible that he can just adopt the education system of one of the states one by one? He'll take it up and he can adopt these people. Like, I'm not saying about Ambani only, I'm saying about these rich aristocrats. Can't they take this initiative to get one or more states, or we can say provinces, and just educate the poor children of, give proper education to poor children of these areas, so that our country will develop, it will develop to the fullest, because manpower will be of the finest quality. So these people, these aristocratic or rich people or civilized, they call themselves civilized people, they need to give a kind of an ear towards these people who are poor. Stephen provides a glimpse of the life of school children living in the slum of Trollhättan Valley of Australian Alpine province. Austrian Alpine. So the Stefan once went to this Austrian Alpine province, and over there he saw the problems faced by these people who are there, these kids who are there in the Tralassee slum area. So he then only highlighted this very wrote this very chapter and highlighted this problem. He make a frantic appeal to the educated and affluent sections of the society to better the lot of the slum children through education. It will remove social injustice and class inequality. Look, class inequality here does not mean only in the class. Class inequality means that middle class, higher class, lower class, or we can say poor class. This class inequality should be reduced. He says he makes a very strong appeal to the people who are educated. He tells them to educate these kind of kids and give some time to these people and give a kind of a proper we can say effort, so that these people will be able to learn something and they will be able to change their life. These slum children, it's only because of education that they can prove themselves and they can change their life. So we have to work for the betterment of their education, and then only we will be able to remove all these classes. So the poet wants to draw attention of everyone towards these kids so that their lives can be improved and they get trained to become good citizens rather than criminals. Definitely, if we will be able to go for a good kind of response, if we will be responsible towards these kids, if we will be just benefiting them in one or the other way, if we will be providing them exposure, then definitely they will become good citizens rather than the criminals. Because if we will not be paying attention towards these people, if we will not pay attention towards these slum areas, definitely there will be a kind of criminals which will just born from there. Because why criminals? Because they, from their early childhood, they don't have food, they don't have any kind of facility. So what they do, they steal. So they start from this very thing and then come up to the stealing part and then become criminals. The kids in these slum areas face so much of hardships and betrayals in life that they consider every other human living on earth as their enemy. So this is a great concern to think that these people, they consider every other human as an enemy, because they have got so many hardships, they have got so many betrayals with these people. The politicians, they visit these slum areas and tell the people that we will do this very thing, that very thing, and when they get the votes, they don't ever come to these places. They don't ever try to just do something for these people. So that's the problem which prevails. So we need to change that problem. We need to change the perspective of these people. We need to change the thinking of these people towards us. So it will change only when we will prove beneficial to them. The poet appeals to the lawmakers to break the restriction of these kids which are put on them due to poverty and lack of resources. So now the poet, he just lawmakers, means government, he just appeals to the government to make such an effort so that these people will not just be always shackled into poverty and will not be always just we can say hurdled by poverty and lack of resources. We need to provide them a lot of resources so that they can develop. The poet wants these kids to experience every part of the world. He says they should go through white and green leaves. Here, the poet wants to experience them everything, experience the sand, experience the white and green leaves. White leaves means the books, and green leaves means the nature. He wants to just experience them. He wants them to experience everything of this very world. Now, there are certain literary devices, simile, where children are compared to rootless weeds. In the starting stanza, it is said that children are weeds, rootless weeds. So, simile, it is direct comparison. Metaphor, a boy is indirectly compared to paper for his thinness, because it's we can say he has gone through malnutrition, so that's why he is so thin. That poet over here indirectly compares him to the paper. Repetition, use of forward in the starting to stress the distance. Far is being used, so that's why it's repetition. Assonance, belt, flowery, trellisy, valley. E. So it's repetition of vowel sounds, that's why it's assonance. Allusion, reference to well-known persons or places like Trellisy, like Shakespeare. So allusion is a poetic device where we give reference to well-known places or persons. Alliteration is from, for, sound is being repeated. That was all in today's video. Hope you liked it. Thank you very much.